Hey everyone, how do you like that? Starting off with some music today, and hopefully I did it correctly and it's not going to keep playing. so um, I'm playing with the platform. So thank you for joining us. This is Friday with Fran. I am Shelly, and this is
Fran,
Fran. How are you, Fran?
I, you're catching me running today. I'm not used to flying in, sitting down, and going. So
Oh, well, thank goodness for technology and how it works sometimes.
and then there are times it really fails. Like right before we came on, my Bluetooth would not connect.
Yeah.
You could hear me, and I couldn't hear you, and I couldn't hear myself. So we're trying different platform for our audio today. So
Yeah. So the reason that I bring up technology is because that is the concept that we intend to start talking about at least today. Um, if you are joining us and you have not joined us and heard our spiel before, please leave us a hashtag live. Let us know that you're here. Say hey. If you are joining us for the first time, we'd love to know where you're joining from. It's
mhm.
always fun for us to realize how far and wide the reach is. Um, I am a special educator with over I have a lot of years of experience. I'm not even going to say anymore. Um, and so I talk about things from the teacher's perspective and an educator's perspective. And Fran, do you want to tell a little bit about yourself for any new
Sure.
people?
I'm a mom to a couple of adult kiddos who have some unique special needs, and I myself in turn have developed some unique special needs about this many all the calendars ago.
Yes. Yeah. And for anybody who may just be listening and not watching, she held up her hand and all five of her fingers were out. Um, one of her special needs that has happened is she doesn't understand number concepts the way that she used to. And so she has learned a whole new way to get that information across to others around her. And so she'll say things like all the calendars. And for those who don't speak Fran, that means a year. Um, so, in case we have anyone who is joining who hasn't joined. So, Fran, why did you want to talk about technology today?
Well, here I am having used technology to answer something that was necessary. Why did I want to start? Because technology surrounds us. It engulfs us, and sometimes it drowns us. And some days technology is your friend, and some days it's your foe. And sometimes it's both at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been experiencing today.
Okay. And I there are so many things that are rapidly changing with technology. And as I was thinking about it after we talked this morning about what we were going to make our topic for today, I started thinking about some of the advances in technology that have happened over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I'd like to just address that just very briefly. And if we feel like it's necessary to talk more, then to do that. So let's start off with I don't know. Do you have a starting point or do you want me to come up with a starting point?
Well, did you want to talk about the advances in technology and we can jump from there?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, since that seems like a good starting point.
I mean, I'm just thinking about, um, when I was a kid and when you were a kid, that we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have the internet,
Right.
we certainly didn't have Google. We had these things called encyclopedias,
Mm-hmm.
and there were salespeople going around trying to sell them
And
because
the
they were
Dewey
such a
Decimal System.
the Dewey Decimal System. Yep. We had I, I don't remember exactly when microwaves came around. I don't think I had one in my house all of my life. but I honestly can't remember exactly when microwaves came, to be such a common everyday thing in households. The advances in medical technologies, the MRI machines, the CAT scans, the ultrasounds, the sonograms, the X-ray. I mean, even, I guess those are advances in X-rays, but prosthetic limbs and the technology that we use for people who aren't always able to verbally communicate. Technology devices, augmentative and alternative augmentative communication devices, AAC devices. And now we're up to pretty much everything we do, touch, use in some way, shape, or form has some technology in it.
Well, like even this is more of a mini computer than it is just a phone anymore.
Right. Yeah. People, it's rare to see someone use it as a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't even talk on the phone, hardly.
You're right. The other day I was in someone's office who helped develop computers from the beginning, and he was talking about how he had a component of the computer, but he said these were stacked upon stacked upon stacked, and they covered a huge room just for a computer for processing. Right. And now, it fits in this.
Exactly. Yeah. And we have been recently hit with some storms, and it knocked out our power for not quite all the clocks around, not quite a whole day, almost. And it was amazing. Like, oh, well, thankfully we had our phones, so we could still communicate with people, and they had been, mostly charged before the power went out. But we were still able to go to our vehicles and charge them the rest of the way, because our vehicles are designed now to charge phones.
Right.
So there's a lot of great things, I think, in relation to technology, but I think there's a lot of things that are not great. And, to me, it always seems like anything that someone intends for good, there's going to be a person or people who are going to end up finding a bad way to use it.
You're right. And I think one of the ways we can combat the bad is finding that balance of when to use technology and when not to, and giving ourselves a time for that technology and saying, okay, it's done. What comes to mind, what made me think of this was when I go camping. We talk about going into nature and unplugging so often, and unplugging from technology and plugging from society. And yes, I still have to use my phone for certain things, because I wish I could completely unplug. But there are responsibilities that I have that I've chosen to commit to that follow me even when I unplug. So I have to be intentional about just doing those responsibilities, and then not getting distracted and going and surfing Facebook or the internet and putting my phone back down and plugging back into nature.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. I can't tell you how many times I will go to my phone because I want to look at my calendar, or I want to send someone a text, and then all of a sudden it's 35 or 40 minutes later, and I haven't looked at my calendar or sent the text because my phone was already open to a gaming app, or I went, oh, here I'm going to go into my Bible app, or I'm going to go into like, oh, I wonder how long it takes me. I've got to go to such and such a place. So then I'm on my Google Maps, seeing how long it takes me to, and all of a sudden I put the phone down. I'm like, I didn't even do what I went to pick up my phone for in the first place. So I completely understand that very distracting nature of our phones.
Right.
And all of technology, honestly. So something that really scares me right now with technology is this artificial intelligence stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on it?
I don't.
Okay.
There's so much about it, and there's such diverse feelings about it, that it's an area I really don't have the mental capacity to focus on at this time in life. At some point, I know I'm going to really have to research it, understand it, and decide where I stand on it. But at this point in life, honestly, I've just kind of said, okay, I know it's out there, but I'm struggling just to get by right now.
Yeah.
So
I understand that. And I haven't done a ton of research into it. I just, as I mentioned before, things that have good intentions and have amazing, great possibilities. And that's one of those things. People are already using it for bad.
Right.
And so just be aware that they can already mimic your voice.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you and I are on here right now, someone literally could take our voices, and it's anyone who puts their voice out online. They only need, I think, C seconds, which is the red, the like the little bitty hand that goes around the clock the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
They only need C of those little ticks, and they can develop an entire conversation that sounds like it's your voice.
Okay.
And they're already doing that, and they're already calling people and pretending to be that person's a family member from that person, and saying, I'm in trouble, I'm in jail, I've been kidnapped, I've been whatever, and you need to send this amount of money into this account in order for me to be released.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are sending money because they think, oh my goodness, this is my loved one, because it sounds like their loved one. And something that I had thought about, and I actually just saw this suggested in a news thing that was on at the gym the other day, is if you get a phone call like that, hang up and call the person who's calling you right back. And if they don't answer, then call someone who would be able to go check on them physically.
Mm-hmm.
Have a code word, like plan something out ahead of time so that, you can ask the person a question and they can give you that code word. So trying to be prepared for the usage of this thing that is out there, and it is not going away, and being able to enjoy the positives about it, and hopefully not get sucked into the abuse that it's already being used for.
True. So, I mean, there's always good and bad, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's finding. Oh, good. Sorry, distracted.
Okay.
My daughter showing me her fingernails. She has a special thing tonight, and
nice. Hey, Alex, we're so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. So anyway, yeah, so she's getting all fancy dancied up for that.
Cool. So technology, what is it that drives you crazy about it?
What should be so simple has become so complicated. So, for example, this is why I'm on this technology right now. I went to my church to load a program onto this many computers.
Okay.
Not an operating system, a program. Should be simple. And I was there this long.
Wow. 3 hours.
So yeah, it was very frustrating because something that should be inner product code key, do this, bam, done, turned into, on each computer it was something different that I had to problem shoot and figure out. And it used to be so simple to do this because I've done it in the past amongst other computers, and it shouldn't be that hard. So that got me on, why do we make it so difficult? Why can it not be user friendly? Why does Microsoft have to be so different from Google? It is so different from Apple, which is different than Android. Why do we have to have this proprietary knowledge and not allow ease of use and user friendliness? And then what really got me thinking, though, was, okay, I'm not saying that I'm super intelligent. I'm just saying I've done this in the past, so I have that knowledge. What about the people that don't have this knowledge and then they're tasked with doing this? How do they do it? They give up, and then it doesn't get done. So what good did it do the people that provide that programming if you can't even use that programming and purchase it?
And so in all of your questions, did you come up with answers to your questions?
Well, ultimately I had to stop, I had to pray, and I had to ask God to give me knowledge and wisdom for each task. But I came up with the fact that it's greed. That was my answer. Greed.
I think so. Yep.
So,
and that's exactly what I was thinking while you were talking about it and while you were saying that you had these different questions, because if they make us dependent on them for their products and their software and their updates, then that's a continuous feed of money for them. Because we're not going to be able to, I mean, those of us who are, maybe have a little bit of knowledge or zero knowledge, we're not going to be able to piecemeal together. Mm-hmm. And I honestly don't think that the hardware is made to be able to piecemeal from an Apple to a Windows. I mean, I think,
you have to use the apps that whichever side has done, but you don't get the full capabilities of it because greed.
Right.
I mean, another example, because I was like, okay, so when you asked me about what a topic, and when I told you, I was like, is it just because I'm dealing with these computers right now? Or do I have another for instance? And I have lots of for instances. And I just helped somebody set up their laptop. And starting from scratch, even that wasn't it wasn't easy, basic, that you had to know this to be able to do this, or you would have missed this step. And then I went with someone to purchase a phone, and we were in the phone store this many times around the clock. And then when we got home, we still had about this many times around the clock to work on the phone, setting it up the rest of the way.
Yep.
And those are separate examples. And I was with people that didn't have unique and special needs, and they were struggling with this. So how are we helping that population that has the unique and special needs? How are we helping them navigate technology? that was where I was. That was my question.
That's a great question.
And I know some of your hashtag no limits have touched upon that. But you know what they've had to do? They've had to create more programs to be able to use those.
Right. Yeah, they had to create different things. And, you know, I am thinking about one of my early episodes of hashtag no limits, and how I'm thinking about my episode with Purely Patrick. And he is a young man. Well, he's in his 20s, I guess. So yeah, he's still a young man compared to me for sure. But not young man in like a teen sense. And his family and others developed some technology for him in order to be able to pour things and measure things, ingredients for, so that he could sell those ingredients. So it's like cookie mixes and soup mixes and bird feed and puppy treat mixes and, you know, different things like that. And yeah, they had to design something that would work specifically for him because there wasn't something out there that he could use. And so in that sense, technology was a good thing because it gives him that independence and that income ability. But yeah, when I think about, I'm struggling because you mentioned phones, and that was where my head was going, you know, is to phones and all the apps that are out there. Learning how to use this AI stuff. I was in a webinar yesterday and they're like, oh, AI is great. And you do this and you do this, and you can go to this place and use it for free and this place and use it for free. However, we've developed a program that can streamline it even more. And then you can do this with it as well. And so again, it's that adding more technology, those layers.
Yeah, that I think that's touchy layers. How deep do we bury the simplicity?
And how simple can it be? And why, like you said at the beginning, why does it have to be so difficult? You know, and we do that not just with technology. I mean, I mentioned this, inconsistency, Alex. I mentioned this, you know, we've had a couple of episodes on dealing with broken systems. You know, if you get into a government system or it doesn't even have to be a government system, but getting into a system and trying to navigate, you know, whether it's insurance or any kind of healthcare or the education system, all the hoops to jump through, that it's and I think again, the root of it is exactly what you said, is greed. We've become such a sue happy society that there are now so many protocols and layers in place so that companies are more protected from being sued. And so they try to cover all areas that they can in order to say, well, our terms and conditions laid it out that, you know, we're not responsible for this, or, you know, you agreed to this, or you're not going to hold us accountable to that. But in order to do that, they've had to layer technology and just layer steps and all this different stuff that if it wasn't motivated by greed originally, maybe we wouldn't have to have all of that stuff. If people
You're right.
allowed for others to make mistakes, yes, hold people accountable, and okay, have them, you know, pay for your medical if something that they were negligent on caused a medical problem. But I think we have so many frivolous lawsuits now. And again, you know, are you getting what you need out of that lawsuit, or are you getting way more than you need because you're greedy.
Right. So ultimately, is it greed in general that is causing the disparity?
Quite possibly, I think. What do you think?
I think so. I think it's greed. I think it's human nature of always wanting to one up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Always having to be the best.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in high school, I was the captain of my basketball team. I used to put motivational sayings on the lockers. This was when we used to use the what is that purple ink? What was that called? Ditto paper.
Oh, ditto. Yeah, Xerox. Yeah.
Not Xerox. It was the one where you would run it over a thing and it would copy it.
Yeah, isn't that Xerox?
Xerox?
I don't know. Ditto paper, Xeroxing. Yeah,
anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about with the purple.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I used to do that, but the thing that I remembered was I put one up that said there's no I in team. And in society, so often it's all about the I and not about the team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And in the special needs community, even it's invaded it. I noticed on in a Facebook group one time this person made a comment, and they were just struggling with how to manage their loved ones into behaviors and get through where they in the now. And some people were making these comments about giving suggestions, and so other people were like, well, you're doing it all wrong, and da da da. And instead of lending confidence and support, they were tearing them down. And instead of being the team that was building this individual up, it became a matter of this individual was being torn to pieces by some individuals. And I just found that so disheartening that even within that community, it was about the I, not about the team.
Yeah. And I think this week I have been thinking about what we spoke on last week. And I think what I'm about to say connects to that, because last week, for anyone who wasn't here, we talked about why do we always expect the worst out of people instead of giving them the benefit of the doubt?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that stems from fear that, we don't want to be duped. We may have been made to look a fool one time. And so we are now very jaded and guarded and don't want to have that again this time or happen another time. And I think it's also I have to make myself feel good about just one thing that I'm doing. And so therefore, if I'm doing this better than you, I'm going to tell you about it so that I can make myself feel better. And it's that, has that person been scarred from something in the past? Have they been duped? Did they feel like a fool at some point because they made a mistake and someone called them out on it?
Okay. Yeah.
And it's that fear of, I don't want to look less than. And so I'm going to pump myself up and say, well, you shouldn't do whatever.
So how can we, moving forward, make a difference and change it?
One person at a time.
One interaction at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We didn't get to where we are by just doing one thing. It's been a series of successive things. And we're all entangled in it. You know, we all have things that we do that intentionally or unintentionally feed into the problem.
Right. Alex, do you have any suggestions? You know, I was thinking about technology and my daughter. And just an example of it, she wasn't the wisest with it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to take it all away. But now as she's gotten older and she's gained wisdom and knowledge, she has gotten more technology back. But it doesn't mean that I don't have to continue to monitor it and ensure that she's help her make those wise choices.
Mm-hmm.
Because
and Alex says, no, not really. She doesn't have any suggestions.
Remember, Alex, I was hoping you just could solve the world for us, you know?
Right? Exactly. Balance is not going to do it this time, I don't think.
So anyway, that was just an example of technology and how we saw the ugliness of it, and we're now seeing the benefits of it. She's able to communicate with some of her Special Olympic teammates, and without that technology, she would not be able to, and she would be isolated. So I don't want her to be isolated. I just want her to be safe, and that's my responsibility to ensure that she's safe as she uses her technology.
Right. And it's very important that we do teach our children how to use technology properly. And I also think it has a lot to do with explaining why you don't want to use it in a bad way. You know, what's the reason? Where's the heart? I was going to say balance, but like you said, it just doesn't fit, says Alex. And so yeah, I mean, depending on the developmental
butterfly thing.
I did. I was going to comment. I like that it's a butterfly and that it's patriotic. And so, you know, limiting as much as we can limit screen time and technology use. I mean, I feel like we were one of the last ones in our circle of friends and family to get rid of a landline because everyone's given them up for their cell phones.
I still have one.
Do you?
Yeah.
And so if, you know, and part of my not wanting to give it up was, well, I don't know if it's even possible, but what would happen if all the cell towers were made useless all at once? How are you going to get a hold of people because, you know, they don't have landlines?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I didn't want to give it up. That was one of my main reasons, but it just got to the point where nobody ever called except people that were spamming me and my mom. And my mom can call me on my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I counted one time for 1 month how many spam calls we got versus how many real calls. And the difference was astronomical. And like I said, the only person who called us on our house phone was my mom. So we gave it up. It was an expense that didn't make sense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But
I have to have one, so I can't give it up. But that's why, I mean, I know so many people that have gone totally to cell phones and they don't have landlines.
And they're good, but they're bad too. I was just talking to someone, and I've heard this at least this many times in as many calendars, that you get 1,000 notifications on your phone because you get notifications from your apps. You get notifications that you have email. You get notifications that you missed a call. You get notifications that someone is calling you. You get notifications to take your medicine. You get notifications for da 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 da. And we're so tied to that beep or that buzz or whatever it is that lets us know that we have that notification, that we're not interacting with our environment around us because we're so glued to whatever is coming off of the phone.
Isn't it like the Pavlov effect?
Yeah. So both of these people were saying, minimize your notifications. Make your notifications the only ones you absolutely need. Of course, you have to understand the technology to be able to do that, to be able to go in and say, okay, well, I'm going to accept, if I get text message notifications from this person, and whoever else, or phone calls from this person, and whoever else. Exactly what we said at the beginning. You have to even know that you can do that. You can go in and say, oh, don't notify me for all of these people, just for these ones that I specifically choose, or go into the apps and say, I don't want notifications from all of these apps. And then you have to, okay, so now I know I have the capability. Now I got to go into all these places and do it for each individual or group or whatever in each app.
Right.
But it's stressful without us realizing it's stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Which is part of the reason that when you go to unplug, it's so difficult, because you have gotten trained, the Pavlov effect, to I know something's going on and I'm not around to hear it or learn about it because I don't have the notification on my phone, or I'm not hearing from them what's happening in the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. What would you do? Oh, what did Alex say?
Well, first she said it's a worldwide addiction, which I absolutely agree with. And then she said, but you have to know how to do it. Exactly.
Right. Have you ever gone somewhere and partway after you've left realized you don't have your phone?
Mm-hmm.
And have you been able to continue onward, or did you have to turn around and go get it?
It depended on how far away from home I was when I realized I didn't have my phone. Most of the time I come back, because I tend to realize it within a minute or two of being gone, which that statement in itself is sad. But there have been a few times where
it's sad. It's just reality.
But it's sad because, I mean, I've left the house before without my driver's license, and I don't realize that until I get to my destination.
Right.
So.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Kevin and I have gone to dinner. It's happened this many times, again, probably in the same number of calendars, that he usually brings his wallet. And to those 2 times, he didn't have his wallet. So when he got his wallet out to pay, he didn't have a wallet to pay. Now, thankfully, I had brought money, or a credit card, whichever, debit card. So we paid and it was fine. But, we made it to, his phone was with him. My phone was with me.
Uh-huh.
Didn't have his wallet. So that's what I mean by it's sad that we can leave without things that truly are important and not realize that we've left those. But within a minute or two, I know I've left my phone. So what about you? When you have gone someplace and you've realized that your phone was left behind, what do you do?
I generally don't leave without my phone. I don't think I've ever, and you're right, it's sad, but what I have left recently a couple of times is my Bluetooth. And because of some physical issues, it's hard for me to hold the phone up.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way I really can have a phone conversation is to use my Bluetooth. And I've realized I've left that, and it's been very difficult because, when you're driving, your hands free. So you're either using the speaker or you're not having those phone conversations, because normally I'm having phone conversations when I'm driving because I'm filling that time and using my time because I have a lot to do and I have to squeeze it all in. So for me, if I lose my Bluetooth, I have come back a couple of times, and a couple of times I haven't realized it till I was way down the road, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Oh, and it totally changed my activities. Like the phone rang and I couldn't safely answer it, so I had to let it go. And I couldn't even see, I couldn't answer, and it was like, oh, I can't tell this person I can't have a phone conversation because I don't have a Bluetooth, because I can't answer the phone because I don't have a Bluetooth. Right. What's going to happen? So yeah,
And what did you feel inside when that phone was ringing and you couldn't answer it?
Oh, maybe I can just answer it because, it's just this time. No, Fran, that's the law. Don't break the law. The law is there for a reason, for your safety, for everyone else around your safety. Okay, don't answer the phone. But I had to have that inner conversation with myself. And so to realize how tied I am to technology is sometimes depressing. That because for me personally, I'm very involved with my church doing their AV and their online streaming and their YouTube channel and different things like that.
I could hear her in her heels.
Coming through You heard the ice cream truck? I don't hear the ice cream truck. Oh, okay. She thought she heard the ice cream truck. So she was running to go, but not there. Go get on your bike and hunt it down. So,
okay, Mom, we'll forgive you just this once.
She said
it was Friday.
I'm glad you're here. Welcome. And yes, we will forgive you because you're here.
Yes.
So anyway, sorry, I got really, really distracted with the ice cream truck idea running by. So where was I?
We were talking about technology. I kind of got distracted too with Mom joining. Let's see. We were talking about your Bluetooth, and then we left that, and I don't know. Alex, help us out. Where was she? I grew up in an age before all this technology and can't believe how dependent I've become on it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We all are. Oh, you were talking about all the different technologies that you do at church.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So anyway, why was I talking about?
I don't know. That's your head, not what you said out loud.
Oh, but I didn't communicate that yet? Really? No. Honest? Oh, man.
Not that I remember. Maybe you did. My brain's foggy today, and I don't know why. I slept fine. Technology, the anybody who's listening, help us out.
So anyway, yeah, but I don't know what I was speaking. So
you have to be connected to it because of, well, first of all, we were talking about, like I said, the Bluetooth and how you don't answer your phone. And then I asked you how you felt when the phone was ringing and you couldn't answer it. And so you kind of went through the scenario of like, it's the law, you can't break the law, but you had to tell yourself, you had to have that conversation with yourself. And then I thought you started going into the stuff about your church and how you run their AV stuff.
I don't know why I was going to talk about that. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
But
so go ahead.
No, go.
Well, I was to say we've spent a lot of time talking about the negatives. Maybe we should talk about the positives.
I was just about to say, but technology is good. That's weird. Because that's literally what I was about to say when you started.
Maybe that's where you were going with the church stuff.
Maybe. Oh, so we've this isn't where I was going with it, but I'm going to go with this.
Okay.
Somebody reached out that watched our church service and from Canada.
Oh, cool.
So technology was good in that aspect. And technology, the other day I went to the zoo with 16 people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was wild and crazy and fun. And there were little ones and big ones and everything in between. And we saw elephants and giraffes. But the cool part.
Oh, my. Oh.
Yes. The cool part, we did see a lion. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh, my. Yes, we did. We saw all of those.
We're not distractible at all.
We do not have chipmunks running through today.
Nope.
So, but I had no responsibility to a little one or to anybody else except to stay with the group. That was my responsibility. So I was taking pictures on, hey, Ellie, there's the ice cream truck.
See, she heard it. It was just farther. I heard it that time too.
So I took pictures for everybody. And then I did a Google album.
Ah.
It's an ice cream truck.
Oh, nice.
Ice cream delivery.
Very cool. Send it my way.
She says send it her way. She said,
Oh, man.
So I took pictures and then I made a Google album. So through technology, because A, B, C, D, we had D strollers.
Mm-hmm.
We had C that were 1-year-old.
Wow.
So these moms didn't have time to be taking pictures.
Right.
So I was able to take pictures for them and then share them through technology in an album that's in the air, and they can take the pictures they want.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
It is cool. So Alex says, how did we ever survive? You just can't do anything now without knowing technology. But it has been beneficial to society in so many ways that I wish I'd had growing up. Funny example was I was the TV remote growing up. Me too!
Yeah. And I was going to mention the TV remote earlier. That's even technology.
Right. And how far that has come. I mean, well, first of all, the advances in television stations and options to watch things. But literally now you can just talk into the remote and tell it, go to this station or this show or whatever, instead of, just having to, my gosh, the horrid, having to point it at the TV and press a button. But, now you can just talk into it. You don't have to do the pointing it at the TV. But yeah, Alex, one of my favorite stories to tell from growing up was that my dad was in our living room and I was in my bedroom, and there was, probably a good 20 feet, 30 feet between the two spaces. And where my dad was in the living room, there was an open floor plan, and the dining area was kind of behind where he was sitting in his chair. And so he hollers for me to come and change the channel. He thought I was in the space that was behind him, didn't realize I was in my bedroom. So I come trouncing out of my bedroom and I'm like, seriously? I have to come all this way just for you to not have to walk 5 feet to the television to change the channel? But, now we don't have to worry about it. I'm okay listening to the music truck sounds.
Okay. the dog, and this is why I use my Bluetooth.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else can hear the music truck, but I can.
So does it make you want ice cream? Or does it bring back memories of childhood?
No, because I don't care a great deal. I like have to be in the mood for ice cream. I'm not one of those people who's like always in the mood for ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And plus, we didn't have ice cream trucks. We grew up in the country, so we didn't have ice cream.
Alex, does it make you want ice cream?
Maybe my mom. Maybe, I don't know. Was there ever ice cream trucks rolling through your town when you were growing up? But yeah, so some of the, I'll take an ice cream sandwich. Mom says, me. Oh, so you didn't have ice cream trucks growing up, but neither of you had ice cream trucks growing up, but you both want ice cream. Okay, got it. So yeah, I mean, and again, technology has lots of wonderful things about it. The fact that we have those AAC devices, and people who aren't always able to verbally express themselves now have opportunities because of AAC devices to get their thoughts and their desires and their questions and have conversations with people. Mm-hmm. We do have all the advances in technology in the medical world. So we can see things and understand things in the body better than we've ever been able to before. So we can diagnose things and we can treat things and we can find things, that we couldn't do before. So it definitely has a lot of positives. And there hopefully are more positives. I mean, I've obviously never sat down and done the whole pros and cons list. I'm just not the kind of person to not look at the negatives too, and kind of in my head go, is all the positives worth the amount of whatever the negative is?
I just thought of a positive technological advance. Do you remember Lorenzo that I wear on my leg?
Yes.
Soon I'm going to get Cornelius. And that's an advance in technology because Cornelius is computerized, whereas Lorenzo is pneumatic.
Aha.
So that's an advance in technology.
Yep. Definitely. I thought you were going to say the fact that we could do this. That's a good thing about technology, I hope.
Yes, it is.
I think at least Mom and Alex enjoy this, and you and I enjoy it. So that's 4 people in the world that are happy for an hour on Friday afternoons, or that go into those deep thoughts with Shelley and Fran on those days when we go into really deep subjects.
Yes, when we can remember about which we were speaking.
Well, there's that too. And yeah, exactly, Alex. You can watch from what is that, 10 states away from where we are in Illinois, and none of us are in the same town, even here in Illinois. So, and anyone else who's watching, I mean, that is definitely something really cool, Alex. That not only are you watching from New York, and I'm not sure, I've never really dug into the analytics of this before, but for my other one, #NoLimits, I have people literally from other countries around the world. I've spoken to people through this platform in Australia and England and where else? Africa. Yeah. And 30 years ago or less, actually less, about 25 years ago, when Kevin and I were in the military, this would have been phenomenal when we lived in England and everyone else was still back here in the United States. Mm-hmm. For us to have been able to see each other and talk to each other, and it be one fee a month versus we pick up the phone and it was per minute and it was extremely expensive. And thankfully, Mom and Dad called us so that it was on their bill and not on our bill because it was very expensive.
I remember when I was in college in Texas and my parents were in Germany, and I had not been in America in many all the calendars, so it was a huge culture shock, and I was alone in those phone calls. you know, then you had time zones and
right. Yep. Yeah. And in fact, coming up here in I don't know exactly, I can't remember now, but I have another person coming on hashtag no limits, and they're from the UK. And I've had 2 or 3 from the UK on. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely a perk to technology. But we're almost, we need to start wrapping up.
Spit it out if it's too cold. She's got brain freeze, and she's sitting there going, like, spit it out if it's too cold.
Yeah, well, the brain is frozen. It can't think to tell her to spit it out.
Oh.
All right. Well, this has been an interesting episode.
Hopefully,
Hopefully,
we got ice cream trucks and chipmunks and lions and tigers
and bears. Oh my. Yep. But that's the other thing. I mean, while you were at the zoo, you could keep in contact, even if somebody, you know, decided, hey, I'm going to go to the other side of the zoo. And, you know, and, or if they didn't do it on purpose, then, you know, I mean, Kevin and I do this all the time. We're in stores and all of a sudden I turn around and I'm like, where did he go? And I'll message him because we both have our phones on us.
And it actually did happen. We, someone thought we were sitting at this place and I was sitting at this place. And so they called, where are you? Well, I'm right here. Da, 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 da. Okay, I'll be right there.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. All right. So hopefully we will be back next week. Do you have plans next week? Do you know?
I don't know. Alex, I'm glad you were here too.
Yeah, I don't.
Technology, looking at my calendar.
Right? I'm pulling up my calendar right now. I don't think I have.
I don't know anything.
I have a meeting before this, but I think it's a virtual meeting, so we should be okay.
Okay. So I guess we'll do it again through technology.
Yay. Yeah. And we'll come up with a different topic between now and then, or we'll just rattle on about stuff because we're really good at that too.
Or unless you guys have something, drop it in the comments.
That would be awesome. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Alex and Mom, thank you for joining us today. Even though you came in late, Mom, we're still very glad that you're here. I was getting worried about you. I was going to have to message you when this was over, but you redeemed yourself. So now I know you're okay. And yeah, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.